Come on, let's get that hair off. There you go. So let's use the scissors now, blend it in. So wet the side of your hair now. Yeah, I want to carry on.
Nice,
So we're going
yeah.
to pull the hair directly out. You just have to point clear into it.
Mm. Did you? What's yours? Is yours recording too? I don't know. Yes.
Hello, everybody. Can you hear me?
I don't know how to turn my camera on. Go up to the top. 6. Did you see where it said share? Somebody over there on the right. Share code. See if that's. I'm here, but I don't know how to turn my camera on.
Turn on the start video. Oh, push it. You push all the push.
Got it.
Would you push?
I don't know.
Good evening. Let's call this meeting to order. Sarah, did you hear from Eschenbach or Alvin?
Eschenbacher's trying to get in. I've admitted him a few times, but he's not getting in somehow. I don't know if it's connections on his end, and I have not heard from Alvin.
Okay. Let's call the meeting to order with the pledge. I pledge allegiance
To the
to the
flag.
flag of the
Of
United
the United
States
States of America
and to the
and to the
republic for which it stands,
stands
one nation,
one nation, under God,
God,
indivisible,
indivisible, with
with
liberty and justice
and
for all.
justice for all.
Sarah, are you going to,
Yes, first things first is I need to swear Jill in. So I'm going to read this oath, Jill, and if you could just say I do afterward.
Okay.
I do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of Michigan, and that I will faithfully discharge the duties of the office of council member in and for the city of Caro, county of Tuscola, and state of Michigan according to the best of my ability.
I will.
Perfect.
hey, welcome, Jill.
Thank you.
Are there any public comments or from the visitors? Any public comments?
Don't see any.
Okay. Move on to, I didn't see any communications. No, first of all, agenda approval. Is there any additions to the agenda? Entertain a motion for the agenda then?
Mayor, I don't know if this is an agenda item or if it's something that I would just like to bring up later, but it's some flower pots that we've talked about with Mr. Wills.
We could put it as number 6 on the agenda.
Okay.
Any other? Entertain a motion then?
We accept the agenda as presented.
There's support?
Yes, support.
You got a motion and support? Sarah?
Eschenbacher is not in here. Paul,
Yes.
Jones Sullivan,
Yes.
Rick Walt,
Yes.
White,
Yes.
Zavitz, not seeing him in here. Mayor Green,
Yes. Motion carried. Go on to, I didn't see any communications. Is there any, Sarah?
not that I've received.
Okay, then go on to the consent agenda. Number 1 is the regular council minutes of April 6, pages 2 through 4. Special council minutes, April 13th, page 5. invoices, page 6. Department reports, police report, 7 through 18. Fire, page 19. Code enforcement, page 20. DPW water reports, 21 through 24. Wastewater treatment, 25 through 28. And municipal parking violations, page 29. Are there any questions? I had one, Sarah, that check to the Scullion Community Foundation.
Yes, that is the money from the DNR, or from the Trailhead project grant that we received, that we did not pursue that project due to not getting the DNR grant.
Okay. Are there any other questions? Entertain a motion on the consent agenda.
Motion to approve.
Support.
A motion and support.
Paul,
Yes.
Jones Hollaback,
Yes.
Rick Walt, White,
Yes.
Zavitz, absent. Eschenbacher, absent. Mayor Green,
Yes, motion carried. Move on to the regular agenda, resolution allowing the city manager to sign all necessary documents for the purchase of real estate from Stevens Tire Services or the Caro Farmers Market, page 30.
I'll make a motion to allow the city manager to sign any necessary documents for the purchase of Stevens Tire for the farmers market.
Support.
is that Jill? White?
A motion and support. Any further discussion?
I just had a question. I just wanted to make sure the 180,000 was part of the grant.
I do believe it is, yeah. Sarah can probably answer that, or Mr. Mayor, you can answer that better than I can because I wasn't here. But I do believe that the acquisition is part of the grant. Now, we do have a match part, so we'll have to cover part of it, but we'll be sending out the money and then requesting reimbursement.
We all set to roll on this though?
Pardon?
This
We
transaction
all
is
set to
just
go?
the remaining property in addition to the first property that we acquired.
Yes, we already acquired the parking lot parcel and everything already.
Okay, that's what I thought. This just completes all 3 parcels.
Yes.
Right. Okay.
Any other discussion? Roll call vote.
Jones Hollaback,
Yes.
Rick Walt,
Yes,
White,
Yes.
Zavitz, absent. Eschenbacher, I see Bob's in here.
I see his name there.
Can you hear us, Bob?
Yeah, I
You can
hear you.
sort of hear.
Did you hear that motion to vote on?
No, I did not. Sorry, I'm having computer problems here.
It was a motion to grant the manager the rights to sign all paperwork pertaining to purchasing the farmer's market, or purchasing Stevens Tire for the farmer's market.
My answer is that yes.
Okay. Paul,
Yes.
Mayor Green,
Yes, motion carried. Number 2, resolution addressing the state of Michigan response to COVID-19 and the request to the governor's office to consider an amendment to Executive Order 2020-42. This is a resolution that a lot of cities are doing. It was sent to us through Paul Mitchell's office. And other townships are doing it to lighten up on, we've been hearing a lot of questions about the lawn mowing and stuff like that, shutting down the plants and everything. We're just asking her to ease up on it. That's what this resolution is.
You need a motion on that?
Yes,
I'll make the motion that we adopt the resolution addressing the COVID-19. Need something else in there?
is there support?
I supported.
Okay, we got motion and support. Any further discussion? Roll call vote.
Brickwalt,
Yes.
White,
Yes.
Davitz, absent. Eschenbacher,
Yes.
Hall,
Yes.
Joan Talbot,
Yes.
Mayor Green.
Yes, motion carried. Number 3, mayor's appointment. The ones I'm adding is historical Jill White. And then also putting Jill White on the finance and policy. That's filling in just the back spots. And moving Don Hall to DDA and putting on planning commission Elvin on that, because Elvin has background in planning commissions. Any questions to that?
Yeah, when are we starting that? Immediately or?
Yes.
Okay.
Do we need a motion on that, Sarah, or that's just it? That's just, okay.
Do we get a schedule of when those meetings are?
Yes, you normally get the agenda and the packet.
Okay.
Hey, Bob,
Yeah.
is it a bad hair day for you? We don't see you.
The computer is goofing up. No, it's not a bad hair day. I have audio, but I don't have any visual tonight. Sorry.
That's okay. I was just being nosy.
Yeah, no.
We got Alvin here now. Oh, we got Melissa.
Alvin, okay.
I have no volume.
Yes.
There we go.
Welcome.
Thank you. Sorry.
Down to number 4, the dog park. As I mentioned last time, I got an estimate just on purchasing the fence was just galvanized fencing was about $3,800 for 210 by 180 plus a 12 by 12 entryway on the dog fence on the dog park. And Mike Carpenter gave us a quote on what the CBS or Little League fields charge. I had a person come in and put it up for about $5 a foot. The question is, should we move forward with this? Right now, we can't build it, but we can get ducks in the line if we have to go out for more bids or line up the people to do it. What's your opinion? If you want,
I think my thoughts are if once we get enough DPW on hand, that we firm up the location at Chippewa for it, and then we plan it out. I think it's a low budget item that we can surely afford. We might have to tighten up on something else larger down the road, but I think it's a positive thing for the community. I think we should keep planning it.
I agree.
Yep.
I agree.
yeah,
I would
because,
agree.
you know, these measurements, it might be a little larger. This is when I pasted off. I just pasted off the area. That's what I came up with. So that's in the ballpark of the size. And there would be one gate to get into the small 12 by 12 area, then another gate from that area into a large area. Then there'd be one large gate, maintenance gate, to get inside to mow and stuff like that. You know, a double maintenance gate.
Are we thinking the treed grass area behind the sledding hill at Chippewa?
Yes.
Perfect. And then,
We talked, we had to do something on the hill, put some trees or some fencing that kids won't slide down that way. Basically, they would be sliding down the other two sides, basically the front side of the hill.
yeah, I think it's probably far enough away, but are the dogs gonna hurt any of the trees that we've got growing down there?
There won't be any trees inside of this area right now.
Oh,
There's no tree.
okay.
It's a blank open area. There's maybe
Okay.
the one big rock in there if we leave the rock in there. There's some stakes out there I placed out there to give a general idea. It's basically the area behind the big sledding hill.
Okay.
And see, I'm not sure if our guys are able to build this type of fencing or just because once they come back full time, they will have a couple water projects to do, and then on
No.
South Elmer Street, they will have some work to do on that water and sewer.
Didn't you guys already budget money for this anyways, if I remember right?
There's money in the parks budget for it, yes.
So why don't we just hire it out and get it done and be done
Yeah.
with it?
I think we should hire it out, maybe consider the vinyl fence and get it done right.
The vinyl fence, you jumped the price to, what was it, about $6,300 for the black vinyl fence.
I mean,
Yeah,
your normal fencing's gonna last 30, 40 years before it starts rusting, don't it?
We could check, the school had to go through and put that ZRC stuff on the fence on the old football field several times. They just replaced it, 2 or 3 years ago. But they had to pay to have it painted every so often.
But I think the vinyl fence would look a lot nicer.
Yeah, I like.
I mean,
what
it's
they
just
did with
cleaner.
South
It's
School.
cleaner looking. It jazzes the
There's-
place up a little bit.
There's less, I guess, barbs on it that I think steel that could snag a person or an animal. If you've ever felt those steel fences and you felt those little barbs. I just think they're a little more pet friendly.
And the quote I got here is on the black vinyl, they have it as 9 gauge. And on the galvanized, they had that as 11.5 gauge wire. So it's more.
Is the black
you're getting
vinyl the
wire
same?
on the vinyl fencing.
Is the black vinyl the same as what's at Shell School?
Yes.
Yeah, more or less,
Okay.
yes. Not as high, we're
Okay.
only bidding 4 feet high.
Right, but it would have that same look.
Yeah.
Okay.
What's the
Okay.
warranty on the black vinyl?
It depends where we get more quotes from. This quote I got was from Menard's Lumber Company. So I don't know if we can check other quotes out from Home Depot or even the fence person themselves, but
Yeah, most of the guys that did the high school fence were local from Mayville, Clifford, the Pier area. But they were with a national company that traveled with government jobs,
yes.
and they just ended up being local.
And I know there's a fence company in Bad Axe, and I know Kirk Supply, he does landscaping, fencing too. So there's several places we can get either quotes on labor or labor and fencing from and proceed once everything's lifted.
Don't you think if we get both things from the same place, we'll get a better price on both things?
Oh, see,
think
I
you're
only
right,
got
Jill.
it from Menard's Lumber Company, and they don't furnish labor, so.
Right.
You usually get a better warranty when the labor company picks their product and installs.
That would be
That's
my
just-
thought.
Yes.
I feel the same way.
Okay, we can proceed with that. Next one is set finance committee meeting as of the whole. What's your wishes? Sarah, you want to touch base on that? Should we
Well,
try to have an in-person one? Like go to the fire hall and spread out in there? What's your opinions?
Personally, I think if we're gonna talk money, we should probably be in person.
I agree.
I mean, if we're gonna talk the budget, so we all understand what the budget's going to be and where we're at with it, I think we should probably spread ourselves out in the back fire hall and be in person.
Okay, what's your wishes on date, Sarah? How, are we ready?
What does Sarah need?
we can do any time.
Next Monday?
It's better for me if we do on Mondays, but
That's fine by me. I've got, yeah, what, 7 o'clock? Because it could take us a little while.
Yes, for the first time through, yes.
Yeah, it could take us a little while to go through it. Or do you want to go like 6:30 so we get out a little earlier?
either way.
Let's go 6:30 if it works for everybody.
I could do, ooh, wait a minute now. Now you've messed me up. Now I might have messed myself. All right, yeah, I'll make it 6:30.
Okay.
Okay, next Monday on the 27th. That's
On the
6:30
27th.
in the back room in the fire
The
hall.
fire hall.
You want to check if that's available, Sarah, too. Okay,
Yeah, I will check.
You'll probably send us an email reminder, right, Sarah?
Right.
yes.
I guess if that's not available, we could go in the probably council room and just spread the chairs out against the walls if we have to.
Yes,
You know, if they're actually having a meeting. I don't think they're having a meeting, so I don't know.
okay. Or even pull the trucks out and use that area.
Right.
6 feet's not as far as you think it is.
No, but. Okay, number 6, flowers.
That you, Jill?
Okay. I'm gonna say it was probably in March or sometime that it was still cold and nasty out. And Tanya and I were talking about flower pots and the barrels for the downtown area. And she checked with the DDA and they said that they would be willing to do the pots again. There had just been some problems in the past, and the past can just be the past and we can move on with the future. But we do need to get those pots and give them to Mr. Wills if we're all willing to go ahead and have them plant the pots, and then either the DDA could take care of them. Like I say, Mike told Tanya that the DDA would be willing to do it. But if something has happened or changed and the city has to pay for those pots, that might eliminate some of the problems that we've had in the past, because the problems have been this person contributed and they didn't get a pot in front of them, and this person didn't contribute and they got a pot in front of theirs. So maybe it's something that the city can just go ahead and take care of. And when we come out of this whole pandemic thing and we can put our pots on the front or on the city sidewalks, we can start out shining.
Just to add to it, some of the history on that, we used to have pots on the ground. And the chamber fronted the money to plant the flowers and stuff. But then, like, was mentioning, there was some where they replaced that person is not a chamber member. Why do they get a pot? But if the city takes charge of it, we can keep our town looking good besides the hanging pots.
So is this a
And-
DDA thing? Is this a like a chamber thing? Is this a Jim
No.
Wills thing? Is this?
I think
We
we're
have
asking
a
for
city
the
thing.
anything.
We have the pots. They're at the DPW someplace. These are big, like half barrels of pots, and they sit on the ground, not hanging. So
Oh,
the main thing is that
how,
we instruct Jim Will to plant the pots, and he said the cost won't be that much. We're not talking that
how long
much
has
money.
it been? How long has it been since we had them sitting downtown?
I don't know, 5, 6 years. Jim Will figures they're at the DPW, the pots.
And we're gonna do the hanging ones?
No, the DDA is doing the hanging ones already.
Oh, okay.
These are the ones on the ground. There's only,
They're whiskey barrels, like,
there's about
Yeah.
6,
Oh,
there's only about 8 of them, 6 or 8 of them. We can find out for sure, but
I say do it. What's it, beautify Carroll.
yes.
DPW can fill the pots with dirt, correct?
What?
The DPW can fill the pots with the dirt or no?
Well, Jim Will has the dirt. Maybe there's dirt still in them. I'm not sure what.
Okay.
maybe.
I think he
maybe-
was gonna put in fresh dirt and get it going right from the beginning.
If we're
It'll
gonna,
look good all year.
can we stage them maybe in some of the parks? If we're gonna be the ones maintaining them?
No, the DDA, when they go uptown and water the upper flowers, they will water these too,
So
They have-
they are DDA.
What?
So they are DDA.
No, the DDA has the hanging ones. I'm not sure who originally bought these ground ones, these pots. But the main thing is the procedure of getting the plantings going, because Jim Will talked to me last week and he said the hanging baskets are coming along real good and growing real good.
I mean, what
Doesn't
what kind of
reset these
expense is it-
pots? Is that what
what
you're
kind
talking
of
about, Neil?
expense is it gonna
Pardon?
be?
I'm sorry, Brian.
What kind of an expense is it gonna be?
Probably under $1,000.
Oh, yeah.
We're not talking big money,
Yeah,
no.
if it doesn't work out one year, we just don't do it the next year,
Yeah,
And
it's-
if it works out great, we buy more pots.
we can
Right.
get
Yeah.
more pots.
or
Jill, are
just
these the big
relocate
ones
them or
like-
Whatever, yeah.
Jill, are these the
Try
big,
something.
are these the big ones like I think resets out?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
And we talked to Jim about putting plants in the pots that are gonna give the same show as Reese had.
Right.
Height and some color and, really make a show out of them.
What do you call those big ones that you can get green and red? Huh?
Cannas,
Yes.
cannas.
Yes. Those are actually bulbs, so you can save them every year and replant them.
Right. And I think he would do that for us.
Right. Sounds good to me.
Wonderful.
Okay, we can, everybody's in agreement to proceed with the pots.
So how do
Yes.
we get the pots to Jim?
Have Jim get a hold.
What?
I was gonna say, if Jim get a hold of, geez, what's his name? DPW,
Jeff,
Jeff. Thank you.
Matt can get a hold of Jeff
I will get a hold of Jeff.
Okay, sweet. Thanks.
and find out how many there are and where there are. Then we have to get them down to Jim Will's. The guys
That'll be-
know where Jim, because we had all the other pots down there. Okay, there's no items pending or tabled. Committee liaison reports, none. Mayor's report. Did everybody get it?
Yes.
I attended the EDC Finance Committee and we made one, we made one loan for equipment for a new restaurant to open up, about $50,000. There's a lot of money in the revolving loan fund. Pot money, so if anybody knows of any business or anything that needs equipment, there's money at the EDC for equipment loans. And me and Matt and Bob participated in Caro Center conference call. And what they said, the final design will be out in June this year, pre-construction meeting to be held in the fall. And we said we're going to start working on a water purchase agreement with the state. We have a sewer one with them now, and that I think can be basically the template we can type up and then have our attorneys review it and see if we have everything in it before we present it to the state. And they're still working with building codes and having Curtis to review stuff. And they have currently 97 patients and 433 employees. Bob or Matt, do you have anything more to add on that?
No, no, you've covered it all, Joe.
They're going to start some demo of this.
Yeah.
That stuff to be worked in June is demoing of some buildings. And some other questions I had was how we need to get a start date for the police building, you know, and then maybe do a RFP to put it out to demo that house. Sarah, I think we said they were going to be out in June.
Yes.
That was my understanding. The lease is up in June. So we can move with that demoing of the house there.
Now, the police building, the contractor hasn't clarified his additional pricing or reduction in pricing if it's framed instead of masonry. He hasn't submitted his price yet, has he?
That's what I mean. We had to push to get that moving, keep moving along.
Yeah, definitely. It needs to be clear whether it's stick build or it's masonry or with a Nova brick, or if it's a split face block on it, because it makes a big difference either way.
I'll have to double check in, but the last I heard, I think they changed the design to like a metal internal piece with the outward facing fascia that looks like brick.
They were doing that to try and meet the energy code, but we needed to know what the pricing is because it's substantial, should save us some money versus the masonry.
Yeah, could you follow up with that, Matt?
Yeah, I can follow up. Yep. I'm also working on the site work. The parking lot was actually not part of the original contract, so we have to actually get prices on putting a parking lot in as well.
Yes.
I have numbers from the contractor for them to do it just as a change order, but I'm gonna approach a couple other people and see if they're in the ballpark or if we should just go with the people we've got.
Are there pictures of it at City Hall that I could look at?
There's the floor plan, yes, at City Hall, or I don't know if you have that on, you can email that out, Matt, or not? Do we have it on PDF?
I think so. I can get it from, if not, I can get it from Mike Carpenter if I don't already have it on my computer.
I think that the question that comes to my mind is it going to look like City Hall is larger than City Hall is right now? Or is it going to look like we have a City Hall building and a fire building that are connected together?
No, I think you'll like the design. It was done so that it kind of replicates the curve on the west side, and it steps it back so that you can tell that it's a total separate building. And then they were doing somewhat of an accent to it to replicate the existing structure. So if they go with a Nova brick, there'll be some small differentiation, but you'll be able to tell the difference between City Hall and the police station from the outside, but it'll blend from what I gather from the drawing so far.
Nice, nice.
Okay, the next item I had was part-time summer help. Sarah, the DDA was, I think, said for three members to try and get.
2 of them, yep.
And should the city get a few to work with our DPW and the parks and stuff and help them out this summer, some part-timers?
The city is scheduled to get 1 part-time help.
But, you know, in my opinion, we should have more of those parks need a lot of help and tender care.
Okay.
I don't know what your opinions is.
I agree, as long as they're gonna do something.
Because our parks need a lot of tender care. You know, there's a lot of work down there.
They sure do.
They need loving.
Should we say to get a couple, 2 or 3, like the DDA was said? I thought they said to get 3 because if you have 3, lucky if you have two working at one time, if I recall right at their meeting.
Actually, yes,
Yeah, that
they
is
are
what they
getting
said.
3.
Yes,
DDA is getting 3?
yes.
And I think we should get 2 or 3.
And we're scheduled right now to get 1, but if you guys decide to get 2, I mean, we can do that too.
Well, I'd like to talk to Jeff and see how he can utilize them. We might be able to come up with the operational plan. Before we bring them in, I'd like to know how Jeff is going to use them.
Yeah. Because there's a lot of work at the parks and stuff, you know. Okay, the next item, I don't know if you guys notice, all of our crosswalks. Seems like we don't have any striping anymore around town for crosswalks.
They're worn out.
Yeah, we should proceed with, like I said, I just drove a few streets and I came up with 76 or 100. There's gonna be over 150 paintings around town that we need to do walks, paintings, stop signs, or we have sidewalks. And I figure we should try and, since we have a lot of money, since we didn't use all the money on paving, we still have money in this year's budget to do some more street work. So if we could get some bids on this, you know, we could try and get it in this year's budget yet to pay for it. If we could do it. What's your opinion on that?
Can we finish Frank Street?
Okay, that's on Frank Street. That's line painting. That, I don't know if that'd be the same type of painting crew that would come in for doing lines, like Hooper Street needs lines too again and stuff.
Right.
Line painting versus just doing these crosswalks. I don't know if the same painting companies do both or what, you know.
I think maybe we look and see if we can find ourselves somebody that does both, so we can let's finish Frank Street once and for all and get it done.
Yeah, but all I know is the DDA has people come in and paint the stripes on the parking lots. Like last fall, they were in there painting stripes. You know, I don't know if that's a different type of painter versus, you know, bringing the machine in and running the lines up and down.
We need to do something with the crosswalks. You're right, but maybe we could get somebody to paint Frank Street and freshen up Elmer Street again.
Yes, or Hooper Street.
Or Hooper Street.
Sherman Street, they put that tape down so that there's a parking lane, and that tape's all off of Sherman Street. So I think if that could be painted instead of tape, that would be a positive thing. Maybe
have Jeff go around town and see how many places need, you know, the line work, and maybe check with the state. See, I don't know if we piggyback with the state any if they're doing State Street or not, or what, you know. But those crosswalks, I've been hearing a lot of people complain about them. And with a year or so ago, we talked trying to have a crosswalk across State Street someplace.
Yep.
Again, if you look in town right at Elmer Street, there's a crosswalk, and you don't get to another crosswalk to get up to Subway, you know, across State Street. Put one in by McDonald's or in there on one of those streets, Gamble Street or Congress Street, a designated crossing for people across State Street too. And then my next item was cement work on city property. We have some sidewalk money left over, Sarah, if I recall right, in our budget for this fiscal year yet.
Yeah, because we put 250,000 in for sidewalk repair for last year for this year, so that's still in there.
Yes, there's money for sidewalks left.
I would say trying to look at like where we're putting that, connecting the trails at Chippewa Landing from the new trail to the parking lot. I'm not saying do the whole thing in cement, like right there is you have to put that piece of cement down in that steel pad for handicap on both ends. That's one spot. Up by the school, there's a bunch of busted sidewalks. I mean, then look at where we bought the piece across from Atwood Park. Is that a place for to put a little sidewalk there and the curb there to come in? I'm talking just small areas that on city-owned property or that where the city's responsible for the sidewalk. We could just put it out for RFP and get stuff done, you know, some small stuff around town. What do you think about that?
I wonder if we shouldn't put out an RFP just to have somebody on retainer to do that work for us.
Can our DPW guys do some concrete work?
We've talked about this before. They might replace, they used to replace small sections, but they can't, I wouldn't expect them to try and tackle the ADA style of ramp and curbing.
Right.
And
It's just a plastic form you buy.
Handicap.
It's just a form you buy.
And what's that?
It's just a form that you buy.
Those two at Chippewa Landing would be just flat ones with that metal plate in, you know. It's no slope or anything on those, you know. Those are the two ADA ones that I can think of right now.
Are you talking about the ADA bumps too,
Yeah.
Don?
Correct.
Yeah.
That's for someone that's blind and has a cane so that their feet and their cane can touch them, so they don't walk out into traffic.
Right.
I think that's, our DPW guys have a lot more stuff to do, and I think that should be left to a specialty concrete company for those.
See, I'm not talking big dollar amounts. It's just small ones around town that we should take care of some of our own property and stuff, you know. We could look into how much we think we got done and put out an RFP or get just quotes from a couple mason guys around this area. And the next work is thing we need is parks. Our parks and buildings need attention in our parks, you know. That building next to the playground equipment, we talked about reciting that last year or the year before. We should proceed with that either. Brian, if you can come up with some type of siding that we could do on that building. You know, if we just go take the board and batten off and go board and batten again, or vinyl siding.
I think before we talked about an LP board that's horizontal.
Yeah.
That could go right over. That way it's
more solid.
It's more solid and less to be vandalized or nicked with a weed whacker or balls hitting it. It won't hurt it. I think the LP board would be a good product for that.
I mean, if you can write down that, and then we can put out for some guys to RFP to do it or whatever, or unless our guys can do it, you know, that'd be one thing. Then
we did hire a couple of guys in the last 5 years. I guess, can we see if Jeff can maybe utilize them for that if they feel that they do have the time?
Yeah, I can talk to Jeff and see what his time.
That's something they could work on one day each week until it's done. You know, if it takes them 4 weeks, it takes them 4 weeks, but one day a week.
And then all I'm thinking, DPW, they have a couple water mains they have to do, and I don't know how much work on the South Elmer Street our guys are going to do, or extensions or stuff we have to do on that, or if the contractor is doing everything there. You know, so I don't want to say have our guys do it and then it's another year and it doesn't get done, you know.
Couldn't the city hire a good general maintenance guy to work under Jeff that would do little projects like this? Kind of a jack of all trades that he could oversee. And like during the summer when I hire some people to do the parks and to maintain stuff, he could oversee them and utilize them too to help him do some of the more of the projects that has to be done outdoors. Wouldn't it be in a benefit to hire a guy for Jeff to keep him? He could go to the buildings. He could do a lot of different things.
Right now, it's darn hard to get contractors or somebody. They're all so busy, right, Brian?
Well, not right now. There's a bunch
Not right now.
Not right now, but
I'm
got
not
commitments.
talking
They
about
don't know what they can get to, but actually I had a conversation with some of the guys last fall on South Elmer, and I think Jeff had them go do some preliminary work in regards to the water, and they were pleasantly relieved that there was already some valves in place so that their work was shortened and made easy by those valves already being in place. So maybe we can check with Jeff to make sure we're good to go with South Elmer, since, you know, we've had to kick that project around for a couple of years now, and I think the crew did get it ready.
And I know there's that section, that block on Lincoln Street that has to be done too. Our crews are going to get done.
Yeah, they have plans to do, I believe, 2 sewer extensions before Elmer Street kicks off, and then there's a small part of a water line that they're going to put in
On Lincoln Street, yes.
in advance of the Elmer Street project.
Yeah, so they have some.
That is enough.
Alvin, I have a visual of the guy that you're thinking of. I don't have the person in my mind, but I certainly have the position in my mind. And I am with you 110%.
I agree also.
There's plenty to do in town to keep them busy.
Absolutely.
Even if it's in maintaining the city building to the fire hall, I mean, there's plenty to do.
Yes.
You know, it adds another burden to Jeff to have to take care of 2 guys, 2 part-time or 3 part-time guys he's going to have to oversee to take care of the parks. That's just another burden that he's going to have to oversee to keep them busy. You know, when he's busy doing some of these bigger projects, it makes it hard for him to make sure these guys have something to do every day and to go out and check on them to make sure they're actually accomplishing stuff.
Right. No, I think that's the best idea I've heard all night.
I'd like the opportunity to do a little bit of a study with Jeff to make sure that that's necessary. I'd like to sit down with Jeff and talk about it with him before we go ahead and add a brand new position to.
And I agree.
Well, it's not just a brand new position, Matt. What they're actually talking about is an entire new department of 1 to 3 people.
I would agree with Matt, though. There would have to be a study. You'd have to sit down with Jeff and talk to him.
I don't think Caro's that big to afford that expense. In addition, we've just hired, 3 or 4 more people to our DPW than what we had 3 years ago.
I have something, and me and Alvin was talking over the weekend or last week, whatever, and we always hear we're not Frankenbooth, but gosh, I pay more than Frankenbooth in taxes. I pay Auburn Hills prices and taxes. I think Alvin does too, and I can't speak for the rest of you guys, but we should be living like Frankenbooth, even higher for the taxes we're paying. I pay $7,000 a year in property taxes on one house. $6,700, I'm sorry. So we can live like Frankenbooth.
But, well, what did you purchase though?
Doesn't matter. I'm just saying, we pay enough taxes. We can be like Frankenbooth. We can be nice.
Well,
but the last 6-8 years when we went through the decline, we cut way back, and there was things that were left go. Now let's try to start addressing these things. Like Matt, I'm not sure if you were around when we talked about the historical building. There are some plumbing issues. Before we turn that building over to lease it to the new historical society, we agreed to fix some plumbing in it, fix them out. We agreed to fix a bunch of things in that building. So we're turning over a working building to them, you know, and I don't know if in the transition, I don't know if those items got dropped or not followed up on. See, that's another thing where we need to get on that so we can get that that's straightened out with the new group that wants to do a lease on that building, you know.
I think it was just plumbing and some siding up towards the top, correct? Maybe
Yeah,
block
some
off the
painting or
stairs.
sidings, a couple of things on the inside,
Mhm.
some wiring too. I thought we needed an electrician there too, and some plumbing. Yeah, there was issues there, yeah.
There might have been just a couple of lights for storage up in the attic, maybe a handrail for the storage steps,
You know,
but
or
Yep.
it didn't amount to a whole lot for them. Oh, they wanted someone to check the, there's a return air system to that furnace that nobody seemed to understand.
yeah,
So they don't know how to maintain it, and that was it. But Mayor, do you, since we're on the topic of capital projects, I've mentioned the need for that fire hydrant down at Chippewa Landing. And I think it was before Matt came aboard, and everyone agreed that that's a great place for it, so that when there is a fire out of town or somewhere in the county, that other counties' fire trucks doing the mutual aid as well as ours don't have to come into the community and round the turn at Frank Street and 24, and then again in town, that if they can fill up by the old, near the sledding hill in Chippewa Landing, then they don't have to enter town and worry about pedestrians and vehicle traffic. I guess I'd like to see that go in before we finalize any of the sidewalks going to the park. That way we don't have to reroute a sidewalk after the fact. Could we get that one accomplished?
yeah, that's a deal. Our crews could do that. See, that's another whole story Matt doesn't know about, that water leak and the well being shut down for a
Yeah.
long time.
That was supposed to happen when the when that well was reopened, when it was excavated down there, and it didn't.
When they my understanding, when they had to change that valve there, I thought it was supposed to happen. Because they dug it up and changed the valve right there. And then the hydrant never got put in. Okay, then the next couple of things I have on is we should proceed with correcting our marijuana ordinance, adding the licensed daycares in there for, I told you, just had to be an amendment to our ordinance and get that added to it now. You know,
In
why it's,
addition to the licensed daycares, can we omit B1, B2 to
No,
back to the way the original draft was? Because that's the way the original draft was, and then it got changed after the meeting and then brought back.
no, I
And
don't
if you
think,
follow it back, B1, B2 was never in the original draft.
it was
That's
added.
why
We
all
had
along I
discussion on
voted
it.
against it.
planning commission added it and we added it.
No, somewhere after the planning commission, it got
I
added.
added it.
Then it went back to planning commission and got approved, but we never know
Right.
who added it. Somehow it just ended up in there.
We voted on it, I remember.
Yes.
Yeah,
made the
but nobody knew
motion.
how it got in there.
Tisha put it there.
we
I
made
made the
Tisha made the
motion.
motion to put that in there. We all had a discussion on it in an open council meeting.
Yep.
To allow B1, B2?
Yes,
Yeah.
we did.
Yep. It,
Wow.
there
Because
was
we
an
even got the, remember
hour-long-
Tish?
There was an hour-long argument. Yeah, I
Because
do remember.
we would have never
'cause
had these problems if
I've
B1,
regretted it
B2 was
ever
not in it.
since. Yes, I do remember.
So
If
anyway,
B1, B2 was never put in that, we would have never had the problems that we just had.
Exactly. Like I said, I've regretted it ever since. Yes, I will never,
So,
ever forget that
since you
decision.
mentioned and you realized the problem, we're realizing two problems. Can we potentially correct two problems before we have another fiasco again?
No, then, well, it won't work because we have one in the B1 and B2 area.
No, we don't. The current one is an industrial.
No, but the new one.
Yeah, the
What-
application
what's
is
the
for a
address of the new
business
one?
district.
What?
What's the address of the new one? We haven't been provided with an address of the new one.
Matt, we have the application and everything, right?
Yeah, we do. It's the old oh, I
State
forget
Farm.
the state
Farm
old
Bureau
state
Bureau.
farm. Yeah, Farm Bureau. It's
Okay.
right across from the speedway there.
Well, that's, that wasn't made clear what the exact address is. We all speculated on what the address was, but it was never stated what the address was.
No, we had it that night, right, Matt? We had the application already that night when he withdrew.
Well, we have the application on file, but we didn't provide that to you during that
Well,
meeting.
we did
that's
say it
what
was,
We all knew where he was going.
yeah, we knew what building it
And we
was.
were all for it, and we were all about him dropping his old application and supporting the new application.
We were for him dropping the old application, but I've always been against B1, B2.
And I understand
Yes,
that.
we
But he was
understand
aware
that.
that you were going to support his new application. So what you're doing is you're going to start a lawsuit against the city from this gentleman.
No, I was never
Because now
provided
you're going
that
to change the
address.
ordinance so he can't even go into this new building.
Well,
That's not right. Basically, you're just telling him you don't want him in this town.
no, there's probably another option to go.
Well, we already discussed all that, so what we're up is for discussion is to add, to put in an amendment by no daycare centers, licensed daycare centers, correct?
Okay.
Or
And I'm
should we
trying to
just
kill-
leave it the way it is?
I'm trying to kill two birds with one stone.
If
Should
it's
we
still
leave it to
B1,
what-
B2, it's fine, but
Should we leave it the way it is or address that licensed daycare? That's my question.
We need to
we
address
need to address the daycare.
Yeah.
He already
situation for
rescinded the
sure.
daycare. We can address the daycare, but we can still further amend it down the road.
Yes, some other time, yeah. But right now it's to
Because
address
he's-
what-
He's opening himself up for another situation of a whole nother group of neighbors that potentially within the distance might not like it as well. So you can keep playing the game, and allowing people within a close distance to complain, or you can make it an industrial and agricultural only.
well,
It's an option.
Right now, the question is, should we address licensed daycare?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, we got
Yes.
the deal on that. Then on our garbage deal, when we did ordinance for blight and everything, I thought we changed the number of hours that people can have it out beforehand in it, but I guess that did not get changed, right, Sarah?
We just discussed it. We didn't change that
Yeah.
ordinance.
And I would like to propose that we change that people can put out the garbage basically one day before and have the cans in one day after, do an amendment to that. And then,
So if
Also-
you're gonna change the ordinance, it has to go through the same
yes, same process, yes.
process. So you're still gonna have to have a
Public hearing.
public
the whole
hearing
works.
and all that.
Yes. But also on that is, Matt, I understand that after he issues a ticket, that ticket just stays out there. What type of I don't think there's any enforcement or bite to it that for us to collect those tickets. So
It sounds like at the moment, the city has defaulted to the Municipal Civil Infractions Bureau. And under that system, we have to find a way to get our own money. Under another system, we can have the county court system go through the civil infraction process for us, and that allows us to put stuff on taxes.
But
You could do both, but the ordinance has to specifically state that we have the authority to put it on taxes if they don't pay us.
the problem is we gotta quit taxing the homeowner and ticket the homeowner and ticket the person living there. What, you can write a renter all the tickets he wants if it's being written to the homeowner. It's not gonna stop the problem. You have to write it to the person living in the household. That's my opinion.
all that I'm saying was we should look into it farther and Because I remember Don Duggar talking about it, and there was money outstanding for years on these tickets, and nothing ever happened.
Because they were being written to the property owner instead of the person living in the house.
Yeah, but just once the ticket is written, if what happens if the person doesn't pay it? That's where I'm getting to.
Well,
What's
I
our
talked
next
to
steps?
Randy earlier today about that a little bit. And I think he's set to go to court on one of the issues. I don't know if he's got an exact court date, but he did say he is going to court in relation to one of them.
You know, all I'm saying is we should check over our ordinance, and if it needs to be updated or corrected, we should start to try to address it.
Aren't the civil infractions considered a misdemeanor? Wouldn't it be the police department that would have to issue the actual ticket to them in order to be collectible through the city?
No, civil infraction just has to be written by an authorized ticket writer, which is pretty much anybody that is authorized by me or in an ordinance. So
Correct, but a non-paid civil infraction turns into a misdemeanor, correct?
I'm not sure. I guess it depends on how it's written and what system you're trying to go through.
I do believe in the township level, the county sheriff would write them for us. And then a civil fraction, they were appointed to write the civil infractions for blight or whatever. And then if they weren't paid, I thought they turned into misdemeanors, and that's how you could force payment. But I could be wrong.
All that I'm trying to say is we need to dig into it farther and see if we need to improve it. Matt, that's what I'm trying to say. We aren't going to solve it right now until we dig into it, right?
Right.
We can dig into it. It's something we'll have to probably get an attorney involved in too to make sure the system is created properly and the ordinance is worded exactly right.
Or what's wrong with the system we have, yeah. Okay, moving on. Manager's comments?
Yeah, I provided a written comments for you.
Game
You're
plan.
muted, Matt.
Can you hear me now?
Yep.
Yes.
Okay, all right. Sorry about that. I've been still pretty busy, even though we're working from home. I've been in contact with Mike Carpenter very frequently about the projects he's working on for us. As the mayor mentioned, I also participated in the Caro Center project update call with the state of Michigan. Been monitoring COVID-19 every single day. Obviously, you guys get the emails from me about the updates from Tuscola County and how things are going on that front. The city operations are going, to the best of my knowledge, very well. None of the employees have contracted COVID-19 that I'm aware of. Working on the farmers market project. The resolution from tonight is very helpful. So that's the last hurdle we need to get this project rolling in terms of building it and actually acquiring the property. Working with the state on that, they've been pretty lenient on some of our process issues with that. Frequent contact with them. I've been attending a lot of webinars related to COVID-19 and how we're responding and what we need to do. One thing I would caution everybody of when we're talking about spending money, the COVID-19 pandemic has caused a worldwide crash in our economic system. So our state shared revenue may take a pretty big hit. So as we get to the budget process and we're talking about projections, we need to think about maybe pulling back on some of that revenue, be a lot more conservative with our assumptions, because we're going to see a hit on that coming up. And so as we talk about the budget, we'll have to keep that in the back of our mind. And that's pretty much it. If you have any questions, let me know.
If you can keep up on that one before we meet, it would be helpful. I know you don't have a magic number in your head that you can pull out, but if you could reach out to maybe some people and see how that's going to affect small communities more, we need to take that one into huge consideration.
Yeah, I was on a conference call webinar today with Treasury, and they honestly have no idea how it's going to affect them. I mean, they're projecting, half of the state sales taxes come into the state since this whole thing started. So for the last couple months, they've been getting 50% of the revenue that they're normally supposed to get. So at least for a period of time when this whole stay-at-home order and these national crises are taking place, we're going to see a dip in some of that revenue sharing money. Don't know how much. I don't know what we should project. I think we should definitely talk about it, almost an arbitrary number to dial things down just a little bit, but there's no way to know at this point, but we have to expect that drop is coming.
Prior to next Monday's meeting, can we have the number that the city of Caro was provided last year, so that we can use it as a reference?
Yeah, we can get that easy.
So we can
Sarah's
speculate on
probably
this
got
year?
that. Yeah.
Thank you.
Matt, I have a question for you. Could you look into row engineering on the Caro Center? I can't remember what type of contract we have with row engineering now. Is it just for some preliminary design and stuff, or what? If we're going to proceed with that, we might have to get a quote from them for the whole project,
Yeah, I'll have to double check with Mike to see exactly what we've got. In my conversations with him, I know that we had a professional services agreement for them to design it back when it was first planned, before it was cut, when Governor Snyder was still here.
Yeah.
So they were on contract to design that. When everything kind of got halted, that stopped obviously, but
Yes.
we've been billing it. They've been billing it under that project.
Yes.
So we're doing that. But yeah, I'll talk to them and see if they need an updated contract.
Or what the next step is going to be for the design is one thing, or get quotes on the construction and inspection or whatever too,
Mhm.
And I know they're still working on getting it's kind of hard from what I talked to Mike is what do they really want for water volume, They gave us the fire flow and the pressure they needed, but
Yeah.
for what,
Yeah, we're trying to ramp up the technical side of things. We're trying to work with them a little bit more on the technical aspects of it to make sure that they're getting what they need and that we're providing what they need. So we're working with them out on that. I think the gentleman from the county with the building codes is going to be probably the last hurdle before they start getting serious. So so we'll be opening communications with them more frequently as that moves forward.
Yeah, Matt and row engineer, they're working with Dave Sproul, is it separate outside of these monthly meetings, get to make sure we're all on the same page.
Mhm.
That's all I have. You have any questions for Matt? Move on to Sarah.
Okay. I've been coming into the office at least 3 times a week to maintain the operations in the front office, and alternating staff has been coming in twice a week to process payments as more payments are coming in as we get closer to the end of the month. I've submitted all of our payroll quarterly and monthly reports, working on the budget continuously, and we're starting to work on the third quarter financials. I was hoping to maybe have those ready for you by the finance meeting. I don't think I'll have those ready by next Monday. So we'll have to do another finance meeting eventually for the third quarter financials. I will be posting the seasonal DDA and DPW positions this week. And also Indian Fields has submitted their proposal for the irrevocable limited franchise with the city of Caro for the Caro Center. So that'll be on the August 4th primary ballot for Indian Fields.
Any questions for Sarah? Brian, do you have any additional questions?
I think we're good.
Tisha,
Nope.
Don,
No?
Jill,
No,
Alvin,
No.
Bob?
No, I'm good.
Okay, entertain a motion to adjourn.
Public comments again?
Public comments? Any public comments?
Not seeing any.
Give them a minute to hit the raise hand if they find it.
Any additional public comments? Any additional public comments? No, we entertain a motion.
Make a motion to adjourn this meeting.
I'll support that.
Got a motion and support. All in favor, say yes.
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 Or are you doing a roll call?
White,
yes.
Davitz,
Yes.
Eschenbacher,
Yes.
Paul,
Yes.
Jones Hollaback,
Yes.
Rick Walt,
Yes.
Mayor Green.
Yes, meeting's adjourned. I want to thank everybody. Have a good evening.
You too.
Have a good evening, guys.
Everyone, have a good
Thanks,
night.
everybody. Good night.
Good
Yeah,
night.
Melissa.
Good night.